Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. That means we're live for another Masterclass session. And today we're going to be showing power users how to assemble their own fantasy vehicles using the Fantasy Battlemap style. As you can see here, in a recent campaign, I had some players pit against two orcs that were fighting or that were on a bruiser bike. And it was quite a difficult challenge, but my players were able to kill the two orcs, and actually hijack the vehicle, the bike, which they gleefully drove around for several sessions until they crashed it and were unable to repair it. It was quite a bit of fun, and I really enjoyed that. So I'll be showing you guys how to make these vehicles, and what you decide to kind of do with them will really be up to you. Now, while I kind of break down my process on how I made the bruiser bike and how I just make vehicles in general, feel free to mention in the chat what kind of vehicles yourself you would like to see made here. Notice that I've got 5 blank spots there without any label there. So feel free to throw some suggestions at me, and we will put those together. It doesn't matter how wacky it is. Hey Mudda Snow, first time chatter, and hey Tang Whistle, glad that you are here. So we're going to make these fantasy vehicles. Again, while I go ahead and explain the bruiser bike, feel free to mention any suggestions. Oh, I'm loving all the stuff in here. That's great. Love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down the vehicle here and kind of how I put this together. And the process is pretty simple. The first step is that you have to come up with a theme, right? And the theme can be a race, it could be sci-fi, it could be whatever it might be. You pick the theme. Now, I chose orcs. This is fantasy, so I went with orcs. And that way I now know which pack that I'm working with. I'm probably going to want to use orc stamps to kind of put it together. Once I've decided the theme and I picked the pack, then I'll usually start by making the main body first. So that's this piece right here. And that's going to be basically like what's called like the chassis. And all I used was like an orc wooden bridge. And I just placed it down. And then from there, I added in my chair, which these right here are just 2 crates side by side to create the chair. And then I used like a line tool to create what's called the fork. And then I used this barrel to act as like a wheel. And I used the barrel because it's wide, and I was able to put spikes or whatever, Eve slime or whatever it is that I want to put on that. And then I used this orc skull, this skull right here, to act as like handlebars for the bike. And then I also asked myself, what powers the vehicle? Is it pedal? Is the orcs pedaling? Are they using a combustible engine? Are they using like coal? Whatever it might be. And that helps you deciding what the energy source for the vehicle is, can decide what further details to add, like these exhaust pipes right here. So it's some kind of combustible engine. Remember, you're not making a technical schematic of a vehicle. You're making a fantasy vehicle. So don't worry about making all the individual parts and making it perfect to T, making it exactly as you would like a motorcycle or a car, right? The point is to make it both believable, but also interesting, right? The job of the artist or you as the creator is to not worry about making a schematic for the bike, but instead just a fantasy thing that's both believable, but also fantastical, which I hope we have accomplished here. So it's not too difficult to put it together once you kind of ask the questions like theme, how is it powered? And then it kind of comes together from there. So now I'll go into the chat and I'll kind of go over some stuff. So I'm seeing boats are always cool. So we'll add some kind of boat. I think that's cool here. We'll put in boat and we'll figure out what theme to give it. Let's just write down the ideas. A boat. Oh, I like flying stuff. Oh, I love that. So like some kind of airship or a dirigible would be nice. We'll go with an airship. I like that. Ooh, a moving fortress. Oh, I love that. Let's go with that. So like a walking fortress. Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea. In fact, I might move that to the middle because that might be kind of wide. So make sure there's enough room for that. There was another one, a carriage and a horse. So let's go horse-drawn. Perfect. Now we might not get to all of these today. So maybe it's a 2-parter. I don't know. We'll see. What else we got? A digging machine, like a digger. Okay, let's do it. I like it. I think that fills it up. So I'll quickly just save it so that way I can have it saved. And then we'll pick which one of these we want to go with first. So I really like the walking fortress idea. I think that's cool. Oh yeah, force a fantasy horse automaton. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it could be a part of the horse drawn, right? Instead of it being like a live horse, an organic horse, it could be like a metal one. So we could like add metal on top of a regular horse to make it look like it's an automaton. That'd be kind of cool. I like that. So I'm kind of stuck between making the walking fortress and the airship. The walking fortress is a little bit more, a little more ambitious, but we could totally do it. Let's do the walking fortress. So we'll start here at the bottom here, and you. So we kind of get the general idea of like it's some kind of fortress. So it wouldn't hurt to probably look at using like a castle. Like since it's fantasy, we might want to use the shape tool with stamps that act as like that have crenellations on it. So we can use the shape tool to create the body. Now, since we're doing top down, we don't need to show like the torso, the the thighs, all that stuff. It's top down, and if it's a walking fortress, it's probably going to have a very top heavy body, and so much of the fortress part, which is the top part, will likely be hiding most of the legs and the mechanism underneath. So what we really need to focus on is just creating the fortress part. And so what might be helpful is to go to that shape tool. That's going to be good. We're going to want to choose a stamp, and something that's crenellated might be nice. There are new stamps for a new castle editions that are coming with 2.0. And so you'll see some of this new stuff here. We could use that, or we could use older castle stuff. If we go with the newer stuff that's in the 2.0 release, that means you won't be able to clone and edit the map that we're creating. Is there a way to make a steampunk vehicle? Yes, we'll make one of the vehicles steampunk. Something with many legs. I love it. The digger could have many legs. That could be interesting. Exactly. Okay. So if I go with 2.0 stamps for this, that would mean that you won't be able to clone and edit this map. If I use the 1.0 art, then that means you will. So it doesn't really matter to me. I think we should showcase the 2.0 stuff. So you'll see there's a bunch of castle stuff. I'll show names. But you've got thick stone wall, brick. But you want to look for one that has got the crenellations. Like this one right here says crenellations wall. That's perfect. We want crenellations because then that will really kind of show that it's a castle. That'll give that fantasy element. So I'll choose that. Okay. And then from there, I'll probably want to choose some kind of fill. So I can do a couple things. I can either use a clipping mask where I can just paint, or I can just pick a texture. Because I used that castle crenellation, maybe I'll use this same castle floor, like right here, as the fill. I'm going to go ahead and place it down so you can see what it looks like. Let me go ahead and put the stamps down. You can kind of see it. So here's what it kind of looks like when I bring the stamp scale down. So now you have a general idea. You have a crenellated wall, and then you have a floor piece. So I think that's kind of set. I think that looks good. Now that I've kind of set that, what I should do is go over here and then add it to my favorites. Favorite it right away. So now I have it in my favorites. That'll be helpful. And then I'm going to turn my grid on, because if it's a walking fortress and maybe I want it to look like a humanoid figure, I kind of want some symmetry. We could do some asymmetry elements. Like we could have like maybe one arm of the walking fortress be much bigger than the other. That's a very common thing that I see in a lot of monster tokens and creatures, is having one arm bigger than the other. So we could do stuff like that, because I think what looks really nice is when you mix match symmetry with asymmetry. And since we're going to have the upper body, the head, the shoulder pads, and some of the torso, you might be able to see it, we're probably going to want to use those crenellations. Let me go ahead and switch over to snap to grid. I think the grid size works okay. And what I'll do first is I'll create the shoulders, or the upper body part. So I got snap to grid here. I got this part right here. And then I'll switch over to my nodes. And then I'll add a couple nodes here so I can I don't want it to look, I want it to be some of it to look organic and some of it to look non-organic, like a building a structure. And that way I'll have some nice contrast between a organic form versus a more constructed look. So I think that contrast will be good. So I'll kind of push out this little bit. I still have these straight lines, which is good. That's going to be the part where it's going to look like it's a construction. So like this would be like the shoulder. And I'm going to scale it up a little bit so I can see what I'm working with. And then from there, I'll probably want to make some shoulder pads of some kind. So I can go in and I'll use the shape tool again. Right here, use the nodes. And maybe these can kind of act as shoulder pads. And maybe I can like push them in one like this. Put another one right there like this. There we go. And I'll make them just slightly bigger, and I'll bring the scale down just a little bit. And then I can just scale it up. Right about here, and then I can place this right on top. This can act as like a shoulder plate. Let's make it kind of big. I think what about there looks good. And then I can just copy and paste it, and then flip and rotate. And then I have another piece. Now, one thing you can do is I can make it one bigger than the other. That would be interesting. Like sometimes there's a, let's say that it's their weapon arm. Like this is the arm that has a massive cannon on it. And it has this huge shoulder plate. I can't remember the name of it. Forgot the name of it, but it's a shoulder piece. And if I remember correctly, it can be really large so that it kind of protects that weapon arm. So we could do that to create some asymmetry there. That could be cool. We'll make that one a little bit bigger. I think that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and scale it down, create some room. A pauldron. Thank you, Tang Whistle. A pauldron. That's what I was kind of aiming for there. So now that we have that piece there, maybe I want to have some more of like the chest kind of coming out a little bit more. It kind of looks like a straight line. So I can go back here and then I can click. Let me make sure that, let me undo what I did and make sure that I've got everything back to the grid. There we go. My mistake. Let's go ahead and delete that one and then put one here and another one right here, I think. Let's move it over to here. Let's move it right about here. Let's turn off the snap to grid now. I don't kind of need it. I just kind of want to have like the chest kind of popping out a little bit. Like this. Okay, let's add another one right here like this, one like this. There we go. Okay. And then I can add like maybe a series of cannons that kind of come out of the chest. So that way it can kind of shoot a bunch of weapons out of it. So that could kind of be cool. And then maybe on top of the pauldrons, we can add some like spinning turrets that have cannons on them. So that could be kind of cool. I think that would be neat. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit darker because I want to show this a little further down. So I'll bring the brightness down just a little bit. And then I'll bring the texture brightness down just a little bit like this. And I might want to change the scale. There we go. It was starting to look like a little, I don't know, unrealistic there. So let's bring that scale down to a proper size. There we go. Now it has a little bit more of the size because it was feeling a little bit smaller because of how big the scale of that was. So I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and maybe put some cannons coming out of the chest. I think that would be good. We can just type in cannon. Oopsie, did I spell it wrong? It's two N's, isn't it? There we go. Let's see here. Now we do have like these from the Dwarven Fantasy Battlemap style. You see these nice like cannon right here. These might work really well. Like maybe these act as like the main weapon that are like attached. We can just copy and paste like this and just say there's like 3 major cannons that come out of the chest like this. That would be kind of helpful. And to show that like maybe they're not all at the same length, we can make maybe a couple of them a little bit darker to make it look like one's higher up and the other 2 are a little down like this. So now we have those cannons. I'll turn off the shadow for now. I don't really need it. Okay, we have those main cannons there. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. We want to create some turrets with some cannons on them. So I think what we should do is maybe go to the steampunk. And I do know that there are like this lid right here. This lid could be kind of helpful. It fits into the relatively the same color pattern with this kind of gold color. I think it's a little brighter, so I can just simply desaturate it a little bit. And then I should get around the same kind of color is that? So that can act as the lid that goes on top. So like maybe I put this up on top. We'll put like a rotating cannon that's maybe attached to the side right here or attached to the front or right here like this. We'll kind of figure that out. We could use a, let's see here, maybe this right here might work. I'm not sure. We could put it on a side like this. I'm trying to figure out multiple ways that I could put together. This actually could work with like dual cannons being attached to it, and then it kind of rotates up and down so it can kind of act as some kind of defense. I think let's go with that. And then let's type in pipe. Let's see here. Let's go with maybe this should work. Yeah, these should work. These will act as like dual cannons like this. And then they can now kind of rotate. So that would be kind of helpful. I'll turn all the shadows off for now. We'll deal with shadowing later. All right, it's coming together pretty good, I feel. So you could put like this kind of cannon here. You could put like two, like one here over here and one on the back side as well if you wanted to have extra weapons. I think it kind of looks okay on the side like this. I think that looks kind of okay for now. And I might desaturate this just so that it kind of matches a little bit more with this. Okay, I think I can turn the grid off now. There we go. Okay, cool. Now that grid is not in the way anymore. So we got this 3 major cannons here. We got this. Let's talk about how to make the head. So I think I might stick with the same shape here. Go with like maybe a circle shape because I have a lot of straight lines here. So maybe adding in like a circle shape might work well here. There we go. Make it to where the stamp's a little bit bigger. So that way it kind of looks like the head is higher up than the pauldrons. So that's kind of helpful. So we have that. I'll even rotate it a little bit. So that way all the stone underneath is not exactly the same. And we'll have to come up with a way to add stuff on top to make the head a little bit more interesting. Got that there. I'll go ahead and copy and paste this. Wondering if I should add another one. See, I didn't get them all, my bad. Wondering if it would look okay to add another one here on the side. I'm not sure. I don't really know yet. Let's take that off for now. Okay. All right, I'm going to save it real quick. And then we'll continue adding more to it. This is the part where I always get like frustrated, like it never looks good. Like I'm not kind of satisfied with it. But the more and more that you kind of add more and more stuff to it, the better and better it looks. It just never looks good at first. It's something that I struggle with personally. Like I usually hate everything I make within the first like 20 minutes. I won't like it until I've added the details that make it more interesting. It's just something that I struggle with. Let's see here. You know, I think that turret reminds me of something like too much from like a World War II element. I think we want to stick with castles. So what might be more interesting is to add like siege weapons like on top of it. So like something like maybe there's a catapult or a ballista or something on the top. I think maybe that might be a little bit more suited to fantasy. A rescue boat, escape fly ship on the shoulder. Oh yeah, I love all of that. That's great. Yeah, let's do, I'm thinking I might just do all of that. So I think I'll throw some siege craft kind of that are up on top. That might good. Yeah, Pedro, it's okay. You're never really going to be satisfied with it when you first start. Like right now, I can't stand this thing, but give it time and relax and it will like come together. It just takes a little bit. The more and more stuff that you add and the more ideas it kind of comes to you, it gets more interesting. So let's see. So I think we should try to figure out like how to give it more of that human quality, the more organic part. So should I have, let's maybe create like the leg parts. And what might be helpful to do that is to maybe like use a crane or something. Let me see if I can find a crane in here. There's this dwarven crane right here. This might be helpful to act as like a leg piece or something like that. That might be helpful. We can kind of maybe use that as like a leg. We just need to bring the brightness down a little bit like this. That could be helpful. We could add more stuff on top of it too. Like we could also stretch it a little bit so it's a little bit more like this. And then you can add some more elements to it. Like you can use all kinds of interesting stuff. Oh, wait, there's this piece. Oh, you know what? I think I like this even better. This kind of looks like a nice, like kind of like foot piece, or I can add it onto here like this. So that way it's got extra support with that long kind of piece in the back. That could be kind of helpful. I could scale this down like this if I wanted to. And then maybe this could act as a foot. So I'll just create group, call it foot. And then I can put it underneath. And now I have these kind of legs that kind of walk. Put those underneath, copy, paste. Want to make sure they're not too big or too small. There we go. I think I'll put those there for now. I might not stick with that because I'm not entirely satisfied with it. So I'll move these over to here for now. And we'll try to figure it out because this is actually quite a challenging one. I like that you guys gave me the most, but I like that I chose the most difficult thing. Isn't that nice? Yeah. All right. So, okay. So I think what we should do is kind of continue on the fortification look. So you notice that I could create using the line tool, or this shape right here. I could take this head right here and then turn off the fill and then go. I think I have an idea. This might work. So we'll try it out. And what I'll do is I'll go to the portal like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit lighter. And this is going to act as like a crown with like a shield-like crown piece. And then you can have some people with cannons shooting out from the head. So to show that it's like a crown, that it's higher up, what I'll do is I'll just bring the brightness up like this. And then when I place this on top like this, you'll notice that this top piece looks like another segment, right? So you kind of get the idea what I'm doing there. I'm adding this piece that kind of looks like there's some armor up on top. What I might want to do is maybe add some kind of pieces on top of it, like a pillar might be a good idea. Let's use the dwarven stuff since I'm already using dwarven stuff. I'll just put it right here like this, up against here like this. Another one maybe right here like this. I think it needs to be a little bit brighter, so we'll bring the brightness up. There we go. Let's see how much smaller this has to be. Let me create group. Oh, let me actually get the shadows on this off for now. But if I move this whole thing, oopsie, create group. There we go. Put it up like this. And then we kind of have this headpiece right here. And then from there, we can have some, we can rotate it. Like maybe we want to have the head facing a different way. We could do that. So I have it facing this way. And then from there, I would want to make sure that I'm rotating the other headpiece as well. So it's also kind of facing in the same direction. That way it looks like it's rotated. And then I can take some cannons. Let me put this up a couple layers. And this time hopefully I can spell cannon correctly, I hope. Let's see here. Oh, some cannon ships revised. I see some old ones here as well. Let's go ahead and place these like this. And what I want to do is I kind of want them to be facing outward like this. So that way they're kind of showing up. Or I can just use, there should be some cannon like this. Let's see here. Set it up to where you've got some cannons kind of sticking out of the head there. We'll kind of line them up with the crenellations so that way they're not too far off. And I think they might be a little too bright, so we'll bring the brightness down a little bit. There we go. So you have some cannons coming out on that side. Someone said a safety airship. I kind of like that idea, so let's look up, just to start with a good frame like a boat. We'll go with the boat revised. This is going to help a lot with scale. Yeah, some kind of crow's nest on the head. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that. That seems more pirate than it does seem like castle, but we could try something like that. Like, I know that castles will sometimes have like wooden installments. And so we could have some wooden installments to help to go with, to make it more interesting, because wood and stone is something I would kind of expect with a castle theme. So a small watchtower. Yep, all that stuff works. Let's go ahead and put like maybe the boat could be like signed up here. And we want to create maybe like an airship thing. So one trick that I've used for making airships is I'll use a sail. So if you take these sails right here like this, and if you kind of place, let me see where we at here. Let me have to scale up. There you go. If you take two sails like this, for some reason I'm having a hard, uh-oh, what's going on here? That was bizarre. All right, there we go. If you take two sails like this, copy and paste, oopsie, copy and paste the two like this, then you have like an airship balloon or a dirigible balloon. So just create group and call it a balloon. And then you can just place it like right on top of it like this. You won't be able to see the actual ship beneath it. You can drop the opacity down a little bit if you actually wanted to see some of the ship like below it like that if you want. So you could actually see that. Just maybe take some ropes and like attach them to a little bit, so that way you can kind of see the rope being attached to it. Way to do that would be go to the line tool and go to rope. Let's see here. We'll use the revise stuff, and you could just take and attach kind of like this. Oopsie, make sure that it is above. Oop, I guess like the whole thing will have to go up. Yeah, no, I think that's right. There we go. And then just take these rope pieces and just kind of place them like this. And so you could have some kind of dirigible like that. Ooh, I wish I had way more time. I could make this so much more interesting. I think this might be the only vehicle we get to today. But you get the idea. Then I would just like copy and paste all these rope pieces and then flip them around and put them on the other side. And then some kind of propulsion system, like taking like a... let's see here. I think you can take things like, I think there's this weather vane right here that you can use. Go ahead and take this piece and then just put it kind of below the boat like this. And then you have like this kind of like wheel piece in the back. So that way you have some way of kind of like steering the ship. And then you could take like a steering wheel from a boat. Oopsie, I spelled that wrong. As I am inclined to do. Oopsie. Here we go. Cool. I'm making some other little vehicles inside of it so that way you guys can kind of see what I mean. Because I don't want to just make this fortress. I want to show you how I make other vehicles as well. So, like, you could take this steering wheel right here, and then you could also place it underneath. And then this could act as like the steering for the boat. You could put it like up against right here like this, and then put like a chair on there, and then that way. And then you could also, if you wanted to, you could create maybe some oars that had sails on them. You could do that as well if you wanted to create that, like how does it maneuver and move around. You take an oar like this, I think, and you can just place it. Let's say you want to make one like this. Let's place it down. And then if you take another, there should be another sail that you can use like this, and then place that sail like that. And if you don't like using this, you can just flip it around and have it like this instead. So that way it looks like it's a little bit more sturdy. And then you would create several of these. Let's turn all the shadows off since we don't need them. Create group. And then you could take several copy and paste these, and then you have several kind of ways in which it would fly like that. So there's all kinds of different ways that you could make an airship. But I think that putting the two sails together, sometimes airships don't even have an air balloon. You don't even have to have that. You could have them be like a mechanical engine, or it could be whatever you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be a air balloon. So there's a lot of different ways that you could kind of approach that. To be honest, I think there's a lot of different ways. But there's all kinds of things that we can kind of do here. Like we could continue to add like more and more like cannons kind of coming out of the pauldrons, like we were doing here. So copy and paste, just have a whole bunch just kind of facing everywhere. You could do that. I mean, it seems almost kind of redundant to have a catapult at this point when you have all these cannons kind of coming out of it. But you could put siegecraft on top of it if you wanted to. Like it could be a staging area for troops. There's all these different things that you can do. Magic, right? All kinds of interesting things. Like maybe if I wanted to have like how does the thing operate, then we could have some kind of magic. Like maybe we wanted to put let's say that you wanted to have like a crystal at the top that protected it. So we could take like another pillar of our choice, like this, and then maybe put it on top of the head. Maybe make it a diamond shape. More interesting. Like this would act as like an energy source. So we put that on there, and then we would put like a crystal. Let's go with this one. And you could put like a crystal on top of it. And then like this would kind of represent like the energy source. And that's why you kind of have this visor-like thing right here, because that thing is kind of protecting the crystal, so it's protected. You could also have, you have cannons on it. You could also have like several airships that act as like escorts. Usually larger vehicles like a tank, for instance, wouldn't go out into a battle all by itself. It would have foot soldiers with it to protect it because it's highly vulnerable due to lack of visibility. Could be the same thing with this flying fortress, or this, sorry, not flying, but this walking fortress. Have several flying units or ground units that are keeping the walking fortress protected because it's probably vulnerable due to its lack of visibility. Could be a really interesting encounters too. Like your players are forced to like maybe hijack one of the flying vehicles and then get on top of the walking fortress and take out all the troops on top of it. and then hijack the thing and then run around. Because that's what my players love to do. They love to hijack stuff and just drive it around until they break it. Like what most people do with cars, right? You just drive it around until you break it. So, I mean, so airships, whatever. Up top here, you could have all kinds of things on there. We could have like a rotated turret. You could have catapults. You could have multiple layers of things. Like we could go back in here and type in castle and see what other things are in the castle options here. We could add like this castle winch right here. This might look good as an element in the back. Like this, we have this castle winch. That could be a nice element to add to the back. Let's see here. And then maybe it's dragging something, like as it's walking. Maybe it has like some large cannon or maybe a large battering ram or something. So we could have some chains kind of going off the back of it as it's pulling stuff, like maybe some other siege weapons. We could also add arches and stuff to give it more interesting feel. Like if you want, we could throw like some kind of arch on the top to continue the head. There's all these different things that you can kind of do. It's kind of fun to come up with stuff. I could even like use this piece to kind of go in the back if I wanted to add some more details. Like what's cool is that you would, once you've made the body of it, and then you can just keep adding more and more stuff on top of it. So that's kind of the cool part when you're putting it together. So I'll kind of go over this real quick and see if there's any things to add on top of it. Like I can use, sometimes you can just use the woodwork from these pieces. Like maybe I want to use the woodwork from this piece to kind of create something that kind of connects everything together. So I can kind of do that. So I can take this piece right here and then maybe just place it right here like this. And then this can act as like some kind of rigging that kind of holds it together. So I can kind of place that there. Let's place this one back up. There we go. So I have some wooden pieces that are kind of holding that piece together. I had another wooden piece right here. Let's bring the brightness down a little bit. We could probably put some chains on the back of it as it's kind of putting things together. I think that worked. Hey, first time chatter. Fugiga, like it. Like the joints, right, exactly. Just whatever elements that kind of put it further together. Like some other things I can do is maybe I want to add some like wooden hoarding to it. Sometimes to add additional like space for soldiers to add defense, they'll add like wooden hoarding. It's generally temporary. It's not like permanent because wooden hoarding is something that can catch on fire. But adding some wooden hoarding to the castle might give it a more interesting element. Like for instance, if this is a walking fortress, if it's sieging maybe like a high mountain fortress, this thing is really tall. So your players or whoever's sieging it could actually get on top of a top wall by maybe creating like a staging area on one of these pauldrons right here. So we can add some wooden hoarding. So I think what we could do is remove some of these cannon pieces here and instead add wooden hoarding. And we'll go ahead and just type in wood. And there should be some hoarding that we can use. Here's a drawbridge. Here's a drawbridge. Seeing if they have any hoarding. They don't have any that I can tell. We could use this wood one. We could also use a dock. Might work well. You could also use market tables. Oh, there's a scaffolding right here. Let's use scaffolding. And I'll go with that darker wood because I kind of like that. And then what I'll do is I'll create some hoarding. Just go across like this. There's some of that. And let's maybe bring the size up a little bit. Oh, the stamps. Oh, bring that up a little bit. There we go. And then you can place the hoarding like in front. If it's like a siege, they need a way to like go across up. You can put it on the side right here like this, or put it in the back. It's really up to you. It depends. So I think the hoarding might look good right here. I think that kind of makes sense, right? If you're going to do a siege, then we might want to maybe add in some kind of palisade or something. So we could go into the catalog and type in palisade. Like these palisades might work just fine. Let's maybe add 2 of them so we can put 1 palisade right here like this. When you're doing a siege, you don't want yourself to be left wide open. So these palisades are going to protect the people who are trying to do the siege. So, but they could easily be removed when necessary. So you can add in some kind of palisade. I think that's kind of helpful. We can add in more siege stuff, make it a little bit smaller, and maybe put some on the side like this. Copy, paste. We'll put it down so it's beneath. There we go. So we have that stuff. So you have some extra hoarding you can add in there. So that's kind of helpful. You might want to add in maybe like a weapon rack. This could be like a staging area. So you could add some crates, barrels of like tar, any kind of stuff like that. So go with barrel. They have some new ones. So there's like this from the Dwarven. So you could add like some barrels. Stack them up right here. That could be useful. Let's go ahead and put some ones that are top down as well, instead of just on the side. So you could have some barrels here. So maybe put them on the hoarding. Like this. That way they can be thrown at defenders. You have these barrels here that could maybe be lobbed off of here, off onto the ledge here. I can add in some more hoarding. Maybe even create one that kind of goes out like this. So it could be like a board of some kind for people to walk off the plank, or just have the hoarding here on the side here so the barrels can easily be rolled off. So lots of stuff that you can do here. I think on like this, that way they can easily just be rolled right off onto defenders or attackers. Let's go ahead and keep adding more siege stuff. Type in siege. We've got a nice battering ram there. I kind of like that. Let me see. What do we got? There's this one. There's this nice mangonel. I think that's a... not sure if that's the right name for that. I think that might be a trebuchet, but I'm not sure. Maybe this piece might look good down one. Let's put it underneath. Let's see here. I kind of like the back part. This kind of might act as like the back of the head. That might work well. I'll put that there. Let's also maybe have some chains, maybe connected, maybe connecting the pauldrons to some rigging underneath of it. So we'll go into here, type in chain. I think someone mentioned chains. That's not a bad idea. Let's use these castle editions. And then we'll just kind of connect it like this. So we'll add some chains here. And what would be nice is doing some variation of the sizes so they're not all the same. So some big chains, some medium-sized chains. And what I'll do is I'll make them the same size for now. Oopsie, I think this will have to go down one. I think it has to be underneath of it. Well, actually, I think on top is fine. We'll do that. Fine, so we'll add that. Add another one right here. And then I can go in and I can change up the sizes as I need to see fit. So I'll take that one, break the scale down a little bit. There we go. That way they're not all the exact same size. Okay, bring the size down a little bit. There we go. We have some chains kind of holding that together. We can't really see the legs yet. I could put them down here. I'm not so sure. Like one could be kind of going out up in the front, underneath, and then maybe one could be down in the back like this, so it kind of looks like it's walking. Like I said, you won't be able to see much of the foot and the leg because the upper body is just so large with those pauldrons, the staging area for the assault, and the size of the head. And so it's really kind of hard to see everything. Where am I at for time, by the way? 40. I knew this was going to take quite some time, but I'm not surprised, right? We'll definitely do a part 2, I think. So that way we can definitely make the other vehicles. Because I definitely want to show how I made the other ones, something like a bike or a tank or something like that. I don't want to leave those things out. So we'll definitely be sure to fit those in there as well. And maybe a part 3 and a part 4. Yeah, in fact, what might be a good idea actually for this is to come up with all of the prompts first. Like on Discord, you guys can kind of share us with all of the prompts, and then we'll go ahead and just make each one in a series. And that way we can kind of get it done because, it took a long time just to kind of make this where we're at here. And we're not even finished yet because there's so much to add to the pauldron. Like we need to make, how do they get into that? We need to add some stairs. There's all of this stuff that we need to do. Thank you, by the way, the dude Corey. That dude Corey. Thank you. You're right. We'll definitely save it. Appreciate you looking out for it. I don't want to ruin the progress. I personally, even with all of it on it, I'm not even satisfied with the way that it turned out. It probably requires a little bit more timing, but I think you guys get the general idea on how to put it together, right? You would create the main body, then you would create like the pauldrons, the head, and then all the elements that would kind of go on top of it, all the different rigging and mechanisms. Like, there's all these other things that we could be adding, like gears. We could add gears all over the place, and it doesn't even have to be functional. Sometimes just throwing on elements just to give it more look nice, because the shape tool by itself, those crenellated pauldrons and the head, it all seems a little odd. So we would have to add a lot more to it to make it more interesting. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make something else, and we'll kind of come back to it because I don't want to do only the walking fortress. That took some time. So what I'll do is I'll make something with a boat as well. So we'll take a boat. We'll use the revised one. And I don't know if someone didn't say a ship, they said a boat. So one thing we could do is we could use the boat, and you could make 2 boats and put them side by side to create like a trimarine or something. That could be more interesting, right? You're already getting a more interesting shape. So you would connect these 2, and then you'd want to connect them with something, right? We can take this boardwalk we did right here, and we can kind of connect these 2 together like this. And so now we have like this kind of boat piece that kind of comes together. So that works out well. And then from there, maybe we want to create some more elements, right? Yeah, like in Waterworld, exactly. I think it's called a trireme. A trireme. There might be other names for the boats, but I think it's called a trireme. Or catamaran. I'm sorry. Did I say a trireme? That is actually a Greek. That's a Greek ship. What I meant was a catamaran. Catamaran, I think. Sorry. And maybe someone else knows the names, but I'm not a professional with this stuff, so I only work with my imagination. So next we want to create some kind of like rigging for it. So we might want to create like a mast. Let's go ahead and use the revised element. So we can kind of put a mast in the center. Now it's up to you where you'd want to put the masts. Like maybe you want to have 2 separate ones. Adding 2 masts instead of 1 might look more interesting. So what we can do is we can just make 1 mast and sail set, and then we'll group it and copy and paste it and put it on the other side. So we'll take this will act as our mast part, and then we'll go ahead and I'm going to expand all these. Let's expand all assets and take a look here. And what we could do, let's go ahead and use this one right here. I'll go ahead and make it at an angle, and then I'll add a sail like this. So we'll add a sail to it. I think that looks good. And if you want, we can also put like What could be interesting is like putting a crow's nest on one of them or on both. I don't really know. Let's go ahead and just let's bring the opacity down on the sail so we can still see the sail. I see underneath, so I'll create group and I'll put one on top like this. And in fact, I think what I'll do is I'll rotate this and maybe have it go that way. Now I'll stick with that. That's fine. Copy, paste. One sail right here, copy, paste, one right here. Now I'm trying to look at the mechanics on how this would work, because if these two were to snap forward like this, then the sails would hit each other like this. So we might have to like change things, get the scale a little bit right. So bring the size down. There we go. And that way now my masts won't be hitting into each other. So that looks good. There we go. That looks good. Okay. I might want to add some other elements to it, like to make it more interesting, like maybe a ship figurehead might be good. Let's go with ship. So I'm seeing pirate ship decorations. Like maybe one of these might work well, like this one or this one. I mean, I kind of like the hammerhead. I mean, that's kind of an interesting concept. I like this one too because I like the... I like this personally because it's got like a mast on the front of it, and that's perfect because now I can try to take some ropes and then rig the front, the ropes, attach those to the rigging there, so I can go back to rope right here, use a pen and kind of attach the ropes like this. So now our ship is kind of coming together here. So we've got those pieces. Oopsie, I kind of noticed I made a mistake there. This is not really straightened out. There we go. My mistake. And so then we've kind of put the ropes there. So I think that looks fine. So that looks good. Okay, so we got some of the rigging for that ship coming together. So that looks good. Let's maybe add some more. Like maybe put some like hoarding on like the side of it. Like this. So this can kind of act as like push down like this. So we'll add some hoarding just maybe right here. That will make it a little less symmetrical, because right now we have a lot of symmetry. So just putting on a little piece of little board on the side right there will break up that symmetry, making it more asymmetrical. We might want to consider adding some other elements to it, like let's go ahead and bring the size down. And I kind of like how the length of it works. And so maybe I could add some other sail stuff to it. Like maybe I want to add something to the back. Like this might be more interesting. Like I could take this and maybe place that like right there like that. That way there's like a continuation. So I go like this, place that there. I think that looks good. And then we can add in some more rigging. Oopsie, the rope. Kind of place that there. Place that there. Okay. And so now it's kind of slowly kind of coming together as we're making the rigging. One thing we don't have are like a rudder of some kind. So, oh yeah, or a statue of a sea goddess. I like that too. I mean, both work good for me. I like them both. That works. We'll turn the shadow off. So far, I like the overall direction that it's kind of going in. Like we've got the rigging together. We've got that stuff together. What we don't have is, I would say that maybe underneath of these hammerhead pieces, underneath these will kind of, maybe underneath of them is where the rudders are. So you can't see the rudders, but at least they're there so you can kind of see it. Some other things to add in there would be like some ship netting. So there should be some net. Let me type in net. And this way we have these nets right here. And what might be helpful is to like maybe attach the net in the back here. Like this, so that way there's like a way to get up top to the mast. And so you have some rigging there. That's kind of helpful. What other netting is there? There's some netting here. It might not hurt to add some netting. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out some other good places to place this netting here. Let's maybe place it in the front like this. And then this kind of act as a place to tie things down. So like you want to take your goods and stuff, and you could place it through the net, but the net will keep the stuff from coming up. So I think that will work well. Let's see what else we can get from ships. We could add more ship rope stuff for more rigging. So I could take these pieces right here, place it on top like this. And so then that way I also have some further rigging kind of adding to it. Same thing with this. I want to add some rigging right here. I can place it on the side right here like this, just maybe attach some ropes to it. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% functional. That's up to you. You can decide how functional you want each piece to be, but just adding in some of these pieces is kind of helpful to making it look a little bit more realistic. Adding some more rigging to it, some harpoons. Yeah, absolutely. All of that stuff works. I love it. I love it all. It sounds great. Let's go type in ship again. Since we're on boats, we should stick with the theme, right? Go with ship. Let's see here. Okay. There's a crow's nest there. I could do that. You know what? We do need the steering. Like, how does this boat move? So what I'll do is maybe we'll put the steering on the actual boardwalk that connects it, and then maybe I'll create some kind of rigging and some gears underneath that that wooden piece that connects them. So what I might want to do is let's maybe put let me think how I want to go about doing this. Let's go with using a piece of like wooden wall. It's going to act as like the post in which the wheel is like attached to. So I'll use this wooden piece right here. I'm going to place it right down like that. And then I'll put the wheel up against it like this. This will act as the post. And then I might want to take like a gear. Oopsie. I don't know how to spell gear apparently. And it could be a wooden one. It could be a metal one, whichever one you want to do. And then I could put a gear like underneath of it like this. And that will kind of give it this idea that there's some mechanism underneath of it. So I could go with that. And that works out great. And then someone said a harpoon. Let me see if they have harpoons. Oh, they do. Great. And we'll put like some harpoons on here. Like, might not be a bad idea to maybe place them like right in front like this. That would give it a more intimidating kind of feel to it, adding the harpoons right there. I think that looks good. Where are we at for time here? 52, we got time. Great. Go ahead and attach. So I got some more harpoons there. You can add more harpoons if you wanted to. Like you could attach some like right here, kind of coming out. This will add more of the intimidation factor of the vehicle, making it a little bit more intense. These kind of like metal pieces kind of jagged out, coming towards you, kind of being kind of scary, right? A lantern for when it gets dark. Yep. Like we could put, you could take those, let's go with ship real quick. Absolutely. You could use this ship torch light. You could put like one each on top up here like that if you want to. You could go with that. Or you could go with adding like some kind of lamp, which I do think there are some lamps. Like there's this wall lantern right here that you could like put up against the mast, or you could take, let's see here, where are they? This hand-lit lantern right here that you carry and just put it right there on, and then players have to like walk around with it. So there's a lot of different ways you can kind of go about the lighting. I think some other things that might be good is to add on like, I think we could use some of these like rolled up bed packs. This green roll stuff right here. This might work good. Like place it on the side right here in green. And it's already going with like the green element over here with the kind of bronzes like color, or the oxidated bronze that you can see on this hammerhead piece. So this could act as like cushioning of some kind or something, or a bedroll or whatever, to add that to the side, and then that would add more elements to it. So I think overall you're kind of getting the general idea. You could add more mechanical elements, but overall you kind of get the general idea on how it works. It is a lot like Waterworld for sure. I see that. And I think that's kind of cool. So I think that works well. You could also add in like a couple more sail pieces if you wanted to. I think, let me do the transform real quick. There we go. You could also add some sails like in the front like this if you wanted to. Like just maybe bring them down a layer and then put some sails kind of like this if you wanted to. You could also do that. You want to continue adding more sail stuff, or I think, oh, you know what? You know what would work better? I got a better idea. It would be this. Copy, paste. Let's go ahead and remove that. And then I think I got an idea. This might work much better. Bring the opacity down. My mistake. There we go. Okay. And then just copy and paste. And then we have these nice pieces that kind of connect to the rigging here. So this would kind of help more. Copy, paste. And I'm not going to change the opacity on these because... yes, I do work with a grid to use for many battlefields. Yeah. So, yeah, I think you overall got the ship idea on how it kind of put together. Maybe add some more rigging. Like you have these ropes here, so continue adding more of the rigging like this. I'll just connect them to here. It kind of looks like a good place to put it. Like that. Oh, oopsie, and I need to bring this down a layer. So it's below. There we go. And so now we have this kind of nice boat. Create group boat. Let's bring the scale up a little bit. There we go. So we have this nice boat right here. There's a lot more that you can kind of add to it, but you kind of get the general idea, right? If it's a boat, start with a boat, a ship, and then just add things to it. That way you don't have to use the shape tool, because you notice I had to use the shape tool to make the walking fortress. But when I was making the boat, I just used boat pieces. So, I mean, you could even take some of the castle elements and then use those for the body as well. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of go about doing it. Let me see where we're at for time. Not enough time to make anything else for now, but I'll save this, and then I think we'll have this be a series. So maybe next month I'll do a part 2, and then we can add the horse-drawn element. We can finish up the walking fortress or redo it. I might sit down and actually do a little bit more research and put things together, because the walking fortress is much more complex than like the boat or a bruiser bike. It's a much larger piece. So that's something that maybe we'd want to work on. I'd have to maybe piece together in my mind first before I put it together. Just like me, my eyes were bigger than my than my appetite. I wanted to make something epic, but I didn't realize that, oh, this is going to take up pretty much the entire stream. All right, well, everyone, I hope you found it helpful. It's pretty easy to kind of put things together. I mean, I struggled a little bit with the walking fortress, as you could tell, but I think the boat definitely turned out okay. The walking fortress is so-so. We'll definitely redo it. If you guys have any questions or have any requests on what kind of stuff to make in the future, please just let me know on the Discord. Just reach out to me, and we'll kind of work on that stuff. So thanks, everyone. Appreciate you. July 4th is a holiday here in the States. So as you know, I'll probably have that day off. So no stream on Friday. Next Wednesday, I think we got streams on Friday, and then I'll have a whole week off coming up at the end of the month to go visit family on the East Coast. All right. Please stay safe and healthy. Merry map making. And I will see you all next week. Okay. Bye, everyone. Take care.